Good morning, sixth standard. So, today we're going to do another poem that has a lot of nostalgia in it, beautiful memory that this poet had. Now, the poet, her name is Elena Fagian. Okay, and the name of the poem that we're going to do today is It Was Long Ago. So, the name itself tells you that, it's obviously a memory, right? When she's recalling, or she is going to recall about something that happened a long time ago. Now, she was a British poet. She was born in 1881 and she passed away in 1965. She was quite a famous English author of children's stories. She wrote plays and she wrote poetry and she wrote biographies too. Okay, now this poem is quite a simple poem. It's about a very early memory of hers, maybe when she was about 3 years old. Now, that's a photograph of her when she was very young. And here's another picture of her when she was a little older. Okay, so actually, this poem is a very simple poem. It's just a simple, very pleasant memory of the poetess, where you remember uh, that she remembers uh, when it must have occurred around about when she was 3 years old. So it's a memory, a beautiful recollection, and at the end, she wants to tell you that that moment that she grew up after this memory, after this recollection here. Okay, so now we'll go through this poem. It's very simple. It seems rather lengthy, but it's very simple. Okay, the language is very simple and it's easy to follow too. Okay, so please open your textbooks to page 150, all of you. Okay, and now we'll start reading this simple, beautiful poem. Okay, it was long ago. I'll tell you. Shall I? Something I remember? Something that still means a great deal to me. It was long ago. So there you see, when the first sentence itself, I'll tell you, shall I? Something I remember? Like usually little children, when they come and talk to you, they ask you, can I talk to you? May I tell you something? So there itself, you see that beginning there. May I tell you, you feel, that the child wants you to listen to her and she's making sure that you're listening to her when she says, shall I? Okay, and she's going to tell you about something that means a lot to her. A dusty road in summer, I remember, a mountain and an old house and a tree that stood. So obviously, this little girl is taking a walk down a dusty road, and at that time, she remembers a mountain, an old house, and a tree. So she sees all these things. So as you're going for the walk along with this little child, you are also able to see these things, visualize what she is seeing there. That stood, behind the house, an old woman, I remember, in a red shawl with a grey cat on her knee, humming under a tree. So what does she remember? What does she see there? She sees an old woman with a red shawl with a gray cat on her knee, and she's humming under the tree. So you see, when she says those particular colors that she's bringing there, red and the gray, once again, when you see the colors, you're able to imagine what she's wearing. And she's humming, this lady is humming. So you can hear that. So there's an appeal to your hearing also. She seemed the oldest thing I can remember, but then perhaps I was not more than 3. It was long ago. So when she sees this lady, she feels that, she must have been very old. But at the same time, maybe she wasn't all that old because, and little Elena, maybe she feels the old lady was very old because she was just 3 years old when she met her. I dragged on the dusty road, and I remember how the old woman looked over the fence at me and seemed to know. So here she's going along the dusty road. She's dragging her feet, pulling her feet along, and this little girl, she really doesn't want to walk along, but she's walking along. And the lady, she's looking over the fence at the little girl, and it's as if she seems to know that this little girl is walking and she doesn't want to go, and she's dragging her feet along. How it felt to be 3 and called out, I remember, "Do you like bilberries and cream for tea?" I went under the tree. So, what's happening then? The old lady is calling out to the little 3-year-old and she's asking her, "Would you like to come and have some blueberries with me for tea? Blueberries with cream?" And at once, the little girl, she just needed a chance, an invitation like that. She was there under the tree with the old lady. And while she hummed and the cat purred, I remember how she filled a saucer with berries and cream for me so long ago. So, once again, so she's so happy, this little girl, and the old lady is filling the saucer with berries and cream for her, and she's so happy there. And there also, the old lady, she's humming, and the cat's purring. So, you can hear the sound there, isn't it? When the poet is telling us that the old lady's humming and the cat is purring, once again, there is an appeal to your hearing there, to the various senses that we see here. Such berries and such cream as I remember, I never had seen before and never see today. So she says that she'd never seen such wonderful berries and cream, and now of recent also, she has not been able to see such beautiful blueberries. And that is almost all I can remember: the house, the mountain, the grey cat on her knee, her red shawl, and the tree. And the taste of the berries, the feel of the sun, I remember, and the smell of everything that used to be so long ago. So, see, once again, she's going back into the memory and she can feel the warmth of the sun on her. So, that's the feeling, right? She can feel the sun on her skin and she can taste the berries. So, imagine you have those taste the berries and the cream in your mouth and the lovely juice of the blueberries in your mouth, the taste, right? Till the heat on the road outside again, I remember, and how the long dusty road seemed to have for me no end. And she's saying that once again, oh, she has to start walking on this dusty road, and the road seems to be endless. So, how she's feeling about walking. That is the farthest thing I can remember. It won't mean much to you. It does to me. Then I grew up, you see. Till now, the poem seems so simple, and you don't think that maybe it has some real deep meaning into it. But here in that last verse, she says that maybe it doesn't mean much to you, but actually it does to me because she feels that at that time she grew up, with this lady calling her over and treating her to the berries. And at that time, through a child's eyes, she's seeing this and she's changing. She's seeing it through child's eyes, but she has become a little more of an adult when she has had the berries here. Okay, so you see uh, the beautiful imagery in this poem, the structure, the format of it, and all this is very simple, and it all brings out the magic of the memory for this little child. Okay, so now let's see how this poem uh, is. It makes you think, it makes you feel, it makes you see, it makes you hear, and you can even feel the sun on you. Okay, so you can see throughout the poem that the poetess is using her senses. Okay, and from the memory we realize that she got this inspiration for this poem obviously from her childhood. Okay, and what is the poem about actually? It is just about a little girl going for a walk, and when she sees an old lady under a tree who calls her and gives her some blueberries. But it's not just blueberries or just cream for this little girl. It's a feast, it's a pleasure, and she really enjoys it. And as we see, it doesn't seem to be really serious, but the last line does suggest that there is an adult in it. And it's not as simple as it seems to be. And this topic, it may be dull for an adult, but no, there is something that we should appreciate there. She tells us that we should appreciate the simple pleasures in life, not the big grand parties or dances or something like that. The simple thing of just, enjoying a saucer of blueberries with cream under a tree with an old lady. Okay, so here we see that there's a freshness about it, but at the end it is replaced with an adult understanding, and that innocence is gone, and there is an understanding, and knowledge seems to come there. Okay, now the tone and the mood and the style that we see there, it's the poet, she's recollecting the memories and the feelings of childhood that she has, and the tone is basically very casual, and it's as if the child is chatting with you and holding your hand and taking you through, and you see through the child's eyes, and you're able to feel the magic of the memory. Okay, and then of course you have the structure and the format. You notice that it's very simple, the language is very simple. It has 12 stanzas, and it's not 12 stanzas, it's just 12 stanzas with 3 lines each. And you see that each line, the first line of every stanza, ends with the word remember. So that word remember, it's being repeated. You see repetition. Once again, the repetition being used is reminding you that this is a memory of a little child. Okay, and here we see that the words are very simple too. The language is very simple, and the words are they all have, most of them have only one syllable. Like you see, it was long ago. Ago has two, of course, but most of the words, if you notice, they have just a single sound to them, or they're all monosyllables. Okay, so we see that it's very simple, and the use of images here, we see that the senses, all your senses are involved here. The poet succeeds in our using our senses. Like you have, she introduces the concrete objects, that is the mountain, the house, and the tree. Then the simple colors that are brought in, that is the red and the gray. We see them, so your sense of sight. Then your help to visualize all these. How? By Just what I said, the colors, right? And then you're seeing the mountain, the house, and the tree. And then she invites you to hear also. That is by her humming and the cat's purring. And of course, then finally your sense of taste when you're tasting the berries with the cream. And finally, your sense of touch when you feel the sun on your skin, right? The warmth that is felt there. So, all these images, they're creating pictures in your mind, and she succeeds in you uh, using your senses when she's, bring things you can see, you can feel, you can hear, all these. So the structure is very simple, the words are simple, and there's a rhythm to it, right? And as you go along with her, you're reminded of your own childhood memories. By this simple memory that she had, she awakens our memories too. Okay? So you see that you have the word you know being used thrice in the poem, then long ago being used. And these all, they reiterate the memory, that it is a memory. Okay. So you have words rhyming with me and no, that you have tree, knee, tree, right? And tea and tree. And all these words, they have a pleasing sense and they add to the rhythm of the poem. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed the poem. Okay. And I think that I've given you the answers to question 13, right? Uh, 13A and B I've answered for you just now, right? C, it addresses the reader directly as you. Now, why do you think she addresses the reader as you? Obviously, because she wants you to be involved in it. She's getting personal, right? So that's why you have the word you also being used there. Okay, so read through the poem once again and try and answer these questions there. Okay, try to find the answers to them as you're going through it, and remember what I've told you. I'm sure you can remember it. Okay, so good morning once again, 6th standard, and I'll see you in the next class.